Today we answered the question, what if the Venom symbiote ended up in the DC universe? Want to know what we think will happen? Stick around to find out. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe. I'm your host, as always, riding solo on this video. C-dubs, guys, and welcome to Comic Universe, the only nerd-centric thing you need in your life. And guys, today we are bringing back What If. This was a segment we've really only done one episode, which was based off of the concept of what if Nightwing had a sidekick. And basically, if you don't know what if, it's basically where we take a topic, a subject, a thought, something to that effect, and bring it to, whether it be real life, mostly comics, video games, things to that nature, basically a what if scenario. I guess it speaks for itself, right? And today's what if, we are talking about what if the Venom symbiote would have found its way to the DC universe instead of the Marvel universe, if you will, originally. And obviously, with it being just past Venom week, this is still something we're still kind of talking about. People are still kind of on the fence about this movie and this whole Sony Spider-Verse thing, but it's here, it's now, so let's deal with it, right? And today's topic, again, is what if the Venom symbiote was in the DC universe? Well, the first things first is you'd have to ask, has it been in the Marvel Universe first and then made its way over? Might come with a different case of different scenarios, if you will, if that's the case, because over time, the kind of what makes Venom tick, if you will, and who is Venom has kind of changed over time. He's gone from a villain to just like, instead of just an alien parasite, to a villain, to a hero, to an anti-hero, to basically being a defender for good, an outer space police officer, a military agent, if you will. I mean, he's kind of been all over the place, to be honest with you. He's been an absolute monster and devoured people, and he has saved people time and time again. He's teamed up with his archenemy Spider-Man, and he has kind of tried to kill Spider-Man time and time again. So it really does boil down to whether or not, if in this case scenario, we're going to just kind of take the basics and basis of what Venom is. Venom got onto Spider-Man. We know that in time it has been retconned that his bonding with Deadpool kind of made him a little loopy, if you will. And basically, we're not going to take him really up to today's standpoint where he's now, there's a whole new planet of them, things of that nature. Just the basis of what the symbiote is. An alien parasite that is kind of known more for being a bad guy / maybe an anti-hero more so than a hero. Okay? So if this particular Venom found his way into the DC universe, I guess it all depends on who his host would be on his effect on this universe. Now, we've seen time and time again where the Venom, not just necessarily Venom, but just a symbiote would try to bond with a super powerful character, like say the likes of a Sentry, and just getting ripped in half. And it, sometimes the more powerful the being, the less likely chance of the Venom symbiote taking over. So in this case, if it were to try to bond with, let's say, the red and blue Boy Scout Superman, as scary of an idea as that is, the odds are he is powerful enough to prevent this from happening. But it's not out of the realm of possibility of it happening. It has happened to Superman time and time again through, for instance, like Starro taking over Superman's body. I forget what the plant, the evil dark root plant that, for instance, was placed on him and in the animated universe and made him kind of imagine his whole family that he kind of created, if you will. Symbiotic parasites have found its way to take over Superman in the past. So it's not to be without reason that it could do so again. If by chance it were to actually get a hold of Superman, things would not be good, obviously, for many different reasons. Who and what's really going to stop him? And although what would be really interesting is the Venom symbiote actually enhances one's power if you already have it, to be honest with you. And the likes of just the super hearing alone could be too much for Superman to even handle if that's the case. But let's say Superman was able to keep in check his current powers, okay, but just dealing with that symbiote, the madness and the violence that he would be able to strike upon the world. Honestly, guys, this would just be the likes of Injustice, maybe even more so, if you will. Because now we're talking about a Superman that might possibly eat people. Like, think about that for a moment. The visual of ability and power that he has and the scope of how powerful he really is terrifying enough. Just imagine him eating a person. Come on. Absolutely crazy. Now, let's move on. Let's say the host were to find its way and bond to the likes of Wonder Woman. Now, this one I find a little harder, only because Wonder Woman's personality and whom she is she's been known, and again, it's not out of the realm of possibility because she has been taken over by the likes of Starro and things like that before, other parasites, but her personality is to fight till she cannot fight no more. She will fight to the very end to fight off the ensuing force that is known as the Venom symbiote. So it would come to question. I think that the symbiote would have a harder time bonding with Wonder Woman than the likes of Superman. Personally, I feel. But again, that's all up to, I guess, the artist, the writer, things to that nature, and we all are going to have our own opinions on that. But again, to the likes of Superman, just imagine Wonder Woman that vicious. Again, we already know her combat skills are scary enough as it is. Her on a battlefield is pretty terrifying, if you ask me. And then add in the fact that she's willing to eat you now. Some might actually think that is kind of pleasurable, but not when it's got thousands or hundreds of freaking razor blade teeth and a tongue a mile long coming at you, and a heart as black as the sun, if you will, just coming at you. Just would not be a good look, if you will. And again, I feel that this is something that Wonder Woman would be able to kind of prevent. Moving on, let's continue the Trinity, if you will. The Batman, Bruce Wayne himself. Now, Bruce Wayne, in a lot of ways, obviously, is comparable to Spider-Man. They both have the two best rogues galleries. They both are us in just different ways, if you will. Like, one is who we strive to be and what we can see ourselves as a normal man, and the other one is a man with powers but deals with everyday life like we do. So we kind of see ourselves in these two particular characters. But with Batman, we all know, regardless of how Jordan having hope, okay, on his side and willpower on his side, we all know that the man with the most willpower is Batman. Let's just be honest here. On the planet Earth, it's pretty much Batman. That's his superpower, if you will. Like, it's just this never say die, this never quit, this ever relentless willpower to do what's right, if you will. So this might be something that the symbiote finds a little hard, as well as it's slowly trying to take over Batman, is the fact that his willpower might be able to fight it off. And I could see most writers really writing Batman that way, to be honest with you. But again, it would be really interesting to see, even if for just a short period of time, kind of like how Peter did allow the symbiote to kind of take over him, and he did some things he's not so proud of and handled some situations in not the best manner. Batman has a lot of built-up aggression. That aggression would come out 10 times fold. And I'm pretty sure we would be dealing with a hodgepodge of Venom / Batman / Punisher at this point. He would definitely be killing the victims he was going after. Again, eating them, as terrifying as that is. But Batman is already a really terrifying character. Whether you're a hero and you call him friend, or you're a villain, you call him foe, he is a terrifying entity. He knows how to manipulate fear. He knows how to come out of the shadows. And, with the Venom symbiote, he, all intents and purposes, would be invisible in the shadows. So this crazy creature just jumping out with his venom wings, if you will, it would just be ridiculous to think how the symbiote bonding with Batman would be. Now, the likes of the Green Lantern, obviously with the willpower, the ring should be able to protect him, if you will, shield him from it, put a layer between him and the Venom symbiote. So protecting him from that would be a pretty easy thing. And probably one of the easiest ways to handle it is he just has to think about it internally, and the ring may manifest that and shield him from the symbiote, essentially ripping him apart, if you will. But then you think of the likes of Flash. Let's just kind of continue the Justice League here for now. The likes of the Flash getting the symbiote, it would just be absolutely crazy to think about as well. Again, you kind of put into question his ability. Like, all Flash would need is a fraction of a microsecond to realize what's happening, that this thing is coming on him, and he'd be able to get out of there. But, however, what if the Venom symbiote was smart enough to, like, masks itself as, like, let's say a piece of food? It has some shape-shifting abilities. It can wrap itself around an apple, let's say, and we all know Flash has this high metabolism and would need to actually ingest a lot of food, and he's not thinking of that, and he takes a bite, he chews, he eats, he swallows, and now the Venom symbiote is within him. And we all know that symbiotes can actually do that. Look at Cassidy, if you will, Carnage. He's bonded essentially with his blood through a cut in his, in his arm, if you will, or hand. And so now we have a symbiote that's inside a Flash, which is absolutely terrifying. Now, sure, you could say, well, he could maybe vibrate himself to separate himself, but once it's inside, I think its connection to you grows a lot stronger, and it seems that way, at least with Carnage, and would be easier to affect his mind. And it would just be like, if we all think that Zoom and the Reverse Flash and those guys are terrifying in their own right, well, they are. But this guy would be like the Batman with Speed Force powers, from the dark multiverse, would have nothing on a Venom speedster. Like, seriously, guys, think about how insane that would be. And let's take a step away from heroes for a moment. Let's say the likes of a Catwoman. Catwoman already knows how to handle the shadows, is already kind of really close to Batman. How does Batman deal with a loved one, if you will, someone he cares for, with this new ability? And does the affection, because again, things enhance with the symbiote. It's part of the reason why he bonded so well with Eddie Brock. It was their hatred for Spider-Man for separating with him. Okay. Now this love for Batman, how deep and crazy would this get? Are we talking like the worst ex-girlfriend scenario, ex-fiance scenario? This chick would just be coming after Batman nonstop, in again, I hate to keep going back to this, but again, I'm going to eat you so that you're with me always, so we're as close as could be. That would just be absolutely terrifying, and then, of course, the inevitable, the one we were thinking probably from the get-go, what if the Joker, now, granted, you generally think of the Carnage symbiote and Venom, and Joker bonding, but let's think about Daddy Longlegs here for a moment. If the Big Daddy himself joined forces, how dark would that get? Sure, with the Carnage symbiote, things would be kind of flashy, bloody, just all over the place. But I think with the Venom symbiote, we're dealing with someone who's going to do things a little more methodical, a little more in the shadows, kind of counter Batman and be one with Batman. And again, the love for Batman, and again, I don't want to call it love, just the infatuation of Batman with Joker would be really, really scary to be dealing with. So guys, those are just some of the ideas of what if the symbiote actually invaded and infested, if you will, the DC universe. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And let's just say Venom as a whole, let's say he crossed over, with Eddie Brock, or, let's just go with Eddie Brock here. It's easy to see Venom as a Batman villain. Now it's gonna take Batman a lot to deal with the likes of Venom. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he could deal with him. I mean, he does deal with the likes of a Clayface, who is overly powerful, way more so than him. Bane, who's more powerful than him. So Batman knows how to handle. It's just a matter of him obtaining the knowledge to be able to do so, or prep for, if you will. And I hate the whole prep scenario, but we all know that's what he does. So just really looking at it logically, it just kind of makes sense for him to be a Batman villain again, since Batman and Spider-Man have the same type of rogues gallery in terms of popularity. Batman obviously being a little more popular, but just their rogues gallery are probably the two biggest and two most important, or icons in comics, if you will. And it's easy to see, you got, the bad version of Spider-Man, he's coming into the world and he's just going to be a menace to society. And, just the fact that he's also alien, I could see him joining the Superman rogues gallery. Actually giving, spicing up Superman's rogues gallery, because honestly, for as great and as powerful Superman is, and again, this is questionable, and I guess it's all in how you look at it. I would say, for as iconic as Superman is, his rogues gallery is nowhere near the status it should be, if you will. So adding Venom into that would actually spice it up a bit, could make it really interesting. And again, Venom has different versions. He can go into his Venom madness and things of that nature, to where he could be a little more of a physical threat to just an average Superman. Obviously, Superman has the ability to kind of just go all out, but he tends to try not to because of fear of what he would do to his surroundings and people around him. So again, that's another really interesting thing, just if he became a part of his rogues gallery. And even the likes of a Wonder Woman, again, someone so iconic with not as deep of a well of villains, if you will. If it isn't really gods or Cheetah, to be honest with you, she kind of doesn't really have many rogues galleries that are just as iconic as, let's say, the likes of a Venom. So this would be a kind of cool way to kind of throw in some aliens in there and dealing with something new and different. And the same thing could be said for the Lantern Corps, the Venom symbiotes. What if all of them? What if Clintar just showed up, over in the DC universe, and there's just this hosts of thousands of these symbiotes just attaching themselves to people around the universe, and the Corps having to deal with this massive problem. And it would be a bigger problem than people would realize. And what if they are able to obtain rings themselves, what if the symbiotes take over the Red Lanterns, where again they enhance all of their aggressions and feelings? Like, how insanely, if you didn't think the Red Lanterns could get even more enraged, just add a symbiote on top of it, and it's a done deal. The possibilities are really endless. So guys, in the comments below, let us know what you guys think, what would happen if the Venom symbiote did join the DC universe. Who do you think would be good hosts for him? What rogues gallery do you think that he would fit, and what do you see him actually doing? Do you see a storyline unfolding? Where's the beginning, middle, and end go? Let us know in the comments below. And guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on the video, guys. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and feel free to subscribe, guys, and click that notification bell. It's the only way you'll know whenever we drop a new video, guys. And Universe, honestly, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the support so far. Let's keep it going. And until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.